You could live in a box, but not with me. I ain't gonna be in that box with you. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Apparently Ashley. Today we're talking about Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 16. I cannot believe it has been 16 weeks we've been sitting here doing this. Like, what the heck? On this week's episode, all the couples met with some loved ones and they talked about the pros and the cons of saying yes or no on decision day. And then they all got together as like a unit, as like their last hurrah before decision day. So let's go ahead and jump into the first couple. All right, y'all. I know that y'all love Gil, okay? But Gil pissed me off this week. He was talking to Myrla about how she basically looks down on people who don't live the same lifestyle that she does or like aren't where she is in life. And I was like, no, Gil, you talk bad about people who aren't where you are. Like basically like you're a hater. Like you feel insecure that she is living this life that you are unable to live, or according to you, you don't want to live that way. And you keep bringing it up, trying to make her feel bad. At one point he was like, I feel like you're losing the person who got you where you are today. Basically saying like, you know, she came from these humble beginnings, like she didn't grow up the greatest. And so like she needs to remember where she came from. And I was like, how dare you say that to her? And she was like, that person actually motivates me to be this person and keep being great and keep making more money and living the way that I live. And he was just like, you know, like you can't just live lavishly and just like be driven by money and like always go shopping and live in the high rises and all this stuff. And I was like, no, Gil, you can't. Like, how you gonna tell her that she can't live that way? And it was just so like, I don't know, y'all. Like I was talking to the TV. I was just like, Gilliam, how dare you? And you could tell she was feeling some type of way too, because she was like shaking while she was talking to him. It was one of those like nervous shakes, like when you're just like bouncing your knee or something like that. I don't know. I felt for her in that moment because I was just like, don't sit here and project onto me that like, oh, I look down on other people because they're not where I am, when no, you just feel insecure because I'm at a place in life where you're not. You know what I'm saying? It is clear that they are just on two different pages when it comes to finances and motivation and aspirations and all those things, because she wants to travel and she wants to save for a home. And he's just like, you know, I'm fine living in a box, which is fine. You can live in a box, but not with me. I ain't gonna be in that box with you. Either there's gonna be a middle ground or y'all just need to separate, because this is not going to work. Because she was saying how like she's at a place in life where she wanted someone who was also established in their career. But I guess according to her, Gil just became a firefighter. And so like he's trying to like grow in that career. And so he's not really like established in that aspect. And so it's basically preventing her from like living the way that she wants to live. He was also saying that she lives like she's single. And I was like, define living like you're single, Gil. Like, what does that mean? Because to me, living like you're single is texting multiple guys at one time, or not taking your feelings into consideration, just moving on my own accord, not thinking about you, not trying to like compromise or make sacrifices or anything like that. Like her shopping for herself is not living like she's single. And he said this in front of everybody, y'all. Like, what? So Gil did talk to his mom on the phone, and he was saying how Myrla came from a traditional family, as did he. So they both grew up where their dads paid for everything. So I'm assuming that they are on the same page about that when they were like first meeting or whatever. He was like, you know what? I'm cool paying with everything, but you make almost twice as much as I do. So for him, he feels like I'm going to pay for everything, and then I don't have anything left for myself. Meanwhile, you're over here living this lavish life. So that is the only point that I will give Gil, because I can get that, where it's like, yes, I will pay all the bills. However, when will I have disposable funds to have fun for myself? I was thinking, and y'all let me know what you think. Like, obviously her expectations before being on this show was to marry a man who was going to pay for everything. So should her expectations change now that she's met Gil and she knows the type of man that she is? Like, should she contribute to the bills now, or should she just stand strong in her expectation? Y'all let me know. All right, let's move on to Bao and Johnny. Y'all, Bao was looking good in this episode. Like, not only was she looking good physically, I just felt like as the episode went on, her confidence was just like growing and growing. And I was just like, this looks good on you, girl. Anyway, she met with one of her friends, a real friend, not like the friend from last week who betrayed her. And they were basically talking about how Johnny needs to show that he's committed to this relationship now, because as y'all have seen, Bao has been putting in all this work, basically make Johnny happy in this marriage, or like make this marriage work, right? But Johnny hasn't been doing anything. Like, it's always been him complaining and then Bao taking his directions and then changing it so that he could be happy, but then he's never satisfied. So she's just like, now it's time for Johnny to show me that he wants to be committed. Also, another thing I noticed was her friend was saying that Bao has never been this like negative, and she's usually like this upbeat and positive person. And I was like it's important for us to pay attention to when our friends notice things about us, because they see us from like the outside looking in, right? And so like they know when like little things about us change or we're not acting how we usually act. I just like seeing how like she picked up on that. And I think even though she wasn't saying it to Bao, like I wish she would have told Bao that, because then that might be like an eye-opening moment for her. Like, oh dang, like I'm turning into this person that I'm usually not, and it's not a person that I enjoy being, and I'm becoming this person because I'm with Johnny. So like take that into consideration when you're making your decision on decision day. So when Johnny met with his friends was basically like, listen, you keep focusing on all these negatives, but like I know there's something positive about this woman. They were saying how like Johnny just keeps talking about deal breakers and all the negatives and stuff, and he was like, you need to learn the difference between a deal breaker and something that you just don't like but you can live with, which I think is good advice in general, because just because there's things that we don't like about somebody doesn't mean we don't need to be with them, but we do need to consider like, is this a deal breaker, like non-negotiable, I'm not about to try and make this work, or is it just something you don't like and like it'll annoy you and you can live with it forever? All right, let's move on to Rachel and Jose. So when Rachel met with her friend was not here for it. She was just like, listen, you're gonna have to hold this man accountable and don't let him control you and treat you like a doormat, because Rachel did acknowledge that, like, I feel like I'm being a little naive in thinking that he won't blow up on me like that again or lock me out of the house. You need to be very hesitant about believing this man, because the way that he acted towards you was ridiculous. So I want her to really just reflect on, is this the person who she truly dreamed of? Because according to her, she's like, he's everything that I asked for, but like, is he? I don't think so, girl. So when Jose met with his friend was like, okay, tell me 3 reasons you wouldn't stay. Y'all, his 3 reasons were not legit. So first reason, faithfulness. Listen, she cheated on her ex-boyfriend, meaning not you. She cheated in the past, years ago. Like, how you gonna hold her accountable for something she did before she knew you? So no. Second thing, communication. He didn't like how she was just like, you know what, I'm done with this marriage. The reason she said that is because you weren't remorseful at all after you locked her out of the house. Reason number 3 was her sleeping over at her ex-boyfriend's house. Again, the reason she did that was because you locked her out of the house. Like, so for him to just be like, these are reasons I wouldn't stay with her, it's like you are the root of 2 of those reasons, and then the other one had nothing to do with you. He's a nutcase. So when they were talking later, the topic of traveling came up again, and you know, he was like, yeah, let's go to San Antonio. And she was like, no, I want to travel internationally once every other year. And he just looked so uncomfortable during this conversation. And I was like, Jose, you need to evaluate your relationship with money, because like, why are you against traveling? Like, that's what I really want to know, because if it's truly money, like I said, we need to figure out like why you want to hold on to your money so tightly. Or is it that like you just don't want to travel? Like, if that's it, then just say that. Say you don't want to get on a plane for 9 to 10 hours. You don't want to travel to these other places. Like, just say that. The way that he's acting towards this is just not making sense to me. So like, I need some answers. I need more. All right, next let's talk about Michaela and Zack. So after they met with Dr. Pepper last week, right? Apparently they went out to eat, and then Zack asked Michaela to spend the night. So you know what she did? She spent the night. Of course she did. And I was like, here we go with this back and forth again. And then after she spent the night, she still has no clarity on where they stand. And I'm like, girl, because I know what you did when you spent the night. You ain't just sleep in the bed. You slept on him and with him. Prepositions. So for you to leave the next morning and still be like, I don't really know where we stand. Like, girl, what are you doing? All of this is just fogging up your brain and you're not going to make a clear decision on decision day. For Zack, he's over there saying that like everything about Michaela is great. It is just this one negative quality of her blow-ups. And I was like, this is a huge negative, Zack. Like, we need to look at quality over quantity on this one, because this behavior is out of pocket. And he was saying that like now Michaela knows that this behavior is unacceptable because her exes in the past have never held her accountable for her acting like this, but now Zack does. And so now she knows that she needs to work on it. And I was like, so she just never knew that this wasn't okay. And so speaking of exes, I got a little tea. So apparently one of Michaela's exes, who dated her before her father passed away, made a post on Reddit. And he was like, I have never heard of this show, but one of my friends told me that Michaela was on it. And I've been watching, and I just want to say that the way that she has been acting on this show is exactly how she acted in our relationship. The fact that she's using abandonment issues as an excuse for her behavior is crazy. And he was like, my heart goes out to Zack. And I was like, if this doesn't confirm what we've been saying about this girl already, like the fact that she's just like, how dare you abandon me? And oh my gosh, she just left me. Girl, we got someone who's saying you've been acting like this. So what now? It's not okay. All right, last, let's talk about Brett and Ryan. So Ryan is still trash. He acknowledged that downloading the app was not the most respectful thing to do to Brett, and he seemingly apologized. I don't know what that was. He was just doing what Ryan does and saying words, but it didn't really sound like an apology. I just feel bad for Brett because she was really ready to like give her all in this experiment and really just be married. She got the short end of the stick. Oh, and I also didn't like how when Ryan was like going back and forth about his decision, he was saying like, you know, I really just want to have like a wife and kids. So like, should I just go ahead and say yes on decision day so that I don't have to start all the way over? And I'm like, so you're just gonna settle with somebody just so you can say you have a wife and then have kids with said wife that you don't even like? Like, why would you do that? And you talking about starting all the way over? It's been 8 weeks. It's not even that long. You can start over. You wouldn't even be starting over because you didn't even start nothing with Brett. So say no, leave that girl alone. All right, y'all, so that's it for the couples, but I do have a few like final thoughts before decision day. So when all of them gathered together, there was like this slight debate on what saying no on decision day really means. And so Bao and Michaela feel like saying no on decision day is like a form of rejection. So like you say no, that means the relationship is over. Whereas Johnny and Zack feel like I can say no on decision day, but that doesn't mean I want the relationship to end. It just means like a no, not right now. Let's keep working on it. I want to know, what do y'all think? Because what I think is, if we say no on decision day, we are done. I'm not gonna say no, get divorced, and then keep working on this and then potentially get married again. Like, no, I'm assuming that they pay for like the divorce fees and stuff if you say no on decision day. But then if we say no afterwards, like I assume we gotta pay for that. So like if we know it's not gonna work, or if it's a good chance it's not gonna work, just say no now and cut our losses. Like, we're not about to keep dragging this on past this experiment. Like, we had 8 weeks to figure this out. If we didn't figure it out, then we need to say no. So y'all comment below, what do y'all think? Does no on decision day mean that it's over, or does it mean no, not right now? Let's keep working it out. All right, y'all, that wraps up my reaction for this week's episode of Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 16. If you like what I had to say, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up while you're down there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Why did I do this?